Hey guys, how's it going, Companion? So, wow, there's so much new information on like Path of Exile stuff coming out all at once. They tend to do this, I think. I mean, the last time they had one of these big press everywhere type of events over at Grinding Gear and all that shit, it was during the open beta release. So now with the game release, the beta is ending and they're releasing the game, and it's happening in less than 3 weeks, and they're adding a bunch of content, they're changing a bunch of things, adding a new class, new gems, just everything, big stuff. And they're trying to promote it by going around all these websites talking about their new shit. And while there isn't any kind of game that I can play or that anyone can play outside of people working for the company, I guess, there is a lot of information that can be drawn from these videos, and it's pretty exciting to talk about. So again, if you're really into it and you want to see the big video, it's like 30 minutes long, you guys go ahead and do that, but I'll give you guys the cliff notes. Okay, so they're gonna like finish up Act 3, so there's like more stuff to do in Act 3. Apparently Piety's not quite the end boss of Act 3. So you get to do that. They're gonna add a bunch of maps, a bunch of maps, like the high-end stuff. All this stuff doesn't really matter too much, but what they are doing is they're adding a new class, and because they're adding a new class, they're changing around the passive tree dramatically, which is really important because it's been kind of a while since there was a huge change in the build diversity, and now we're going to start seeing it, I think. And on top of that, they want to do like a bunch of different types of PvP. They want to have like a PvP type of event. They call it like a tournament, and I think from what they've said, it's going to act like a race. So you enlist in a race in your character, and you do tournaments and all that, and they want to incentivize people to do like damage builds in that kind of sense. And they have like other PvP modes with capture the flag and all that shit, which favor tanky characters. So kind of like a dynamic where if you have some kind of polished character, it's going to be good at something in PvP, and you're going to be able to do something other than grind maps all day, which is pretty sweet. Also, the new class that they're adding, I talked a lot about it. I didn't really quite get the entire grasp of how it's this, how it's that. Basically, it starts at the center of the skill tree. Most builds nowadays go through the center of the skill tree, so I don't really think it's going to be that revolutionary in terms of where it starts and all that. Probably just another option. Looks pretty sweet. Definitely like the appeal of the character. Looks a lot like the D3 Barbar, so that's pretty sweet. And I'll probably be playing something like that. As far as the really cool stuff that really gets me going is the new skills. And they have all these skills that are kind of like advanced skills. So, you have like heavy strike or something like that, then you attack the target. You have spark, you cast sparks. But when it comes to the support gems, they're a little bit more complex, and the ones they introduced here are another level of complexity, which I really love. So I haven't memorized these, but there are cast when damage taken, which is pretty cool. Basically, when you are taking damage, when you take a certain amount of damage, it's going to cast a spell and has reduced spell damage. Reduced is not less, so if you have a lot of spell damage, the penalty is small. And that's a really big deal, because if you're a spellcaster, you can actually scale your spells with this. Obviously, ones that come to mind is like Molten Shell or something like that. That'll obviously work. But, there's a lot of other possibilities that just do damage. The problem with Molten Shell is actually that you take less damage, and you're like, well, why is that a problem? Well, if you take less damage and it takes damage to trigger the ability, then it's not going to trigger quite as much. Where, if you put another spell that just had a really high damage and really good potential to life leech, and if you had like Vault Pact, you could just run through monsters and it would chain off of itself. So I think that's kind of the next level kind of build that people might be playing. Just a build where you run into monsters and they kill themselves. And I think it will be made possible by this skill, as well as possibly a few others I'll talk about here. So it's cast when stunned, so when you get stunned to cast a spell. Not really quite as exciting, but you can probably have similar use out of this. One thing that is really cool is there are boots that give you stun immunity on low life. I think they're called Lionized Paws. So you can make a CI character not get any stun reduction mechanic. Oh, not a CI character, what am I thinking? A life character, and not get any stun reduction mechanic while not having that much life. You could intentionally get stunned and cast a bunch of shit, and then when you're low on life, you can't be stunned anymore and you get the fuck out of there. So some concept like that I think is going to be possible and also be really, really cool. Another cool one, animate guardians, kind of like, you guys will see the video. Basically, you make a golem out of items or some shit like that. Spectral Throw is, from what I see, a lot like lightning strike. Looks cool, but I don't really think it'll be that revolutionary of a melee skill. Cast on melee kill. This is the big one that a lot of people are talking about. This gem makes it possible to link a spell with a melee attack with this support gem, and when you kill something with your melee attack, it triggers the spell. And some people have, ideas with discharge and all that. And yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff out there. What came to my mind as one of the cooler things is to make a staff build, because staffs have a really high top end and a really low end. A staff build using sweep and detonate dead. So when you kill something with a lucky high end, it'll detonate dead and kill all the other, all the other fucking monsters around them. And with sweep, you can maximize your AoE, and AoE maximizes detonate dead. So just cross synergies between spells and attacks. The possibilities are so cool, and I'm really excited to try to make a character and play around with it once this shit is live. And there's some useless crap. Reduced duration. I haven't really thought about a way to use this in a beneficial way, but I mean, it's there for a reason. I'm sure there's some kind of aspect that can be useful with this gem. Overall, though, it's really great to hear that the Path of Exile stuff is improving, and it's improving in a large way. They have patches, they have all this stuff. The game is always getting better, but it's getting better little by little, every 2 or 3 weeks. But in such a large way, I think it may attract a big audience once again. And I know, for someone who's been playing Path of Exile, it's not going to be a big deal. I mean, they've been playing these leagues, they've been playing, just a bunch of random characters all through and through. It's pretty much the game that continues on. But for a lot of people, when they see the game being launched, when they see a new league being launched, I think they're going to be attracted to it. And, I've actually become one of those people. So I think I'll be revisiting the game once again. I had a lot of fun in the Turbo 1-week race, and I think this new release event will be no exception. So, hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.